Hello everyone, this is Praveen Kumar. I hope you all guys are doing great. Today's video, we will talk about the demo in Google Kubernetes Engine. So before starting the demo, let me remind you the container image. So container image is like a pre-built package that contain the application code, dependencies, and the runtime, which might be Python, Nginx, or Node. And it also consists of file system and configuration. So basically, Kubernetes uses that container images to run the containers inside the pods. Okay. So this is the basic use of container image. So we have this kubectl command where we can write create deployment and we can give our name of the deployment and then we will give our image. So here I'm using nginx stable. This is the sample image. Similarly, we have multiple sample images. So if I talk about this Nginx stable image, this is publicly available container image, which is stored in Docker Hub. Docker Hub is a public registry where we can find multiple container images and we can use it for our testing purpose. So Nginx is a web server which is a lightweight and fast HTTP server. If I talk about this Nginx stable, so Nginx is the repository name and this stable is the tag, which is the version. So if I talk about uh, this uh, this particular image, so we can find it in this link hub.docker.com, and we have multiple repositories like Docker Hub. We have Google Container Registry gcr.io, and we have also GitHub Container Registry. So here we can find multiple public sample images. So if I talk about for testing purpose, here we have Nginx stable, we have HTTPD latest, BusyBox, Python 3, and Nginx demo. Hello. So we can use any of these sample images in our cluster. So now we are going to do our first demo. So in the first demo, we will deploy a public container image in a Google Kubernetes autopilot cluster, and we will also expose it with the load balancer. So first two steps are very important, like we have to enable the Kubernetes Engine API, and we can do this by using this CLI command, and we can also create the autopilot cluster by using this CLI command. So as of now, we will use GUI mode only. So let me first open our cloud console. So first of all, I will go to this navigation and I will click on this Kubernetes engine. So if you are first time using this Kubernetes engine, so it will ask you to enable the API. So I have already enabled my Kubernetes API. So this is the first view which will appear after enabling your API. So now here you can see we have multiple options. We can see here we have clusters. So first I will go to this cluster. So cluster is basically the environment where we are uh, putting our application in a form of containers. Okay. So we just need to click on this create option. And in this you have two options, autopilot and standard mode. By using autopilot, Google maintain everything, like Google take care of the nodes, take care of the security, even the worker nodes, everything will be managed by Google. But if I'm using the standard like worker node, you have flexibility to choose your own configuration, use your own number of nodes, everything you have to maintain. So in this demo, we will use autopilot cluster. Okay. So I just need to click on this configure and then it will ask you to give some important information related to this container. So in this autopilot cluster, first we need to give our name. So I'm just giving autopilot cluster 1 and I'm selecting this region is US Central 1. Okay. The rest everything will be default one. So I'm just pressing next and this one also default one. Here also review and create. So I will click on this create. So this cluster is now creating and it will take around 5 to 7 minutes. So I will pause this video and will continue after it get completed. So now you can see our cluster is now created. So you can explore more about this thing. Here you can see we have selected only reasons. Okay, in autopilot mode, we can only select a reason. But by default, it is assigning all the zones of that particular reason. And this is the version of that particular, we can say, Kubernetes. So now our cluster is created. Now we will like deploy a sample image here. So we need to click on this deploy, and then we have to select our container image. And before that, we need to give the name of our deployment. So I'm giving here demo public, and we need to give the labels. I'm giving here app demo public. This is by default only. And here automatically we have our cluster, autopilot cluster one, and we have the reason US central one. Then I need to click on this next. Here we need to give our sample container image. So I'm using Nginx latest, and then I will click on next. And here we will give our expose. So we have to select expose deployment as a new service. And then we need to give the port 180 and the target port is 80. Okay. So this will generate an external IP when your deployment is completed. And here we have a service type. We have three type of service. First one is the cluster IP, which is used for internal IP in the cluster. And node port is used to export the service on the same port of each selected node. And load balancer we are using for like load balancer with the external IP. So here we can see there are question mark available. So when you hover your mouse, we can see the meaning of each and every things. Okay. So as of now, I'm just giving target port 80 and selecting the service type load balancer, and I'm clicking on this deploy. So it will also take 1 or 2 minutes. Now you can see our image is not deployed, but still we need to wait for 1 minute because something is still loading. You can see this status is unschedulable. So when it will show green color, then only it will get completed. So we need to click on refresh and we need to wait for 1 or 2 minutes. So now you can see it is showing green tick mark. So our deployment is completed. And here we can see by default, it creates 3 pods, which is running status. And below here we have exposing services. So when I click on this endpoint, it will open my website, which we have like deployed using that sample image. So now you can see this is the website which is deployed with the sample image. In our second demo, we will build a simple Python web app. We will Dockerize it and we will post it to artifact registry, and then we will deploy to JK. So the two steps will be similar. Like we need to enable the JK API and we need to create the JK autopilot cluster, which we have already done in our previous demo. And also we need to enable containers.google's APIs.com, which means we need to enable the Kubernetes, we need to enable the artifact registry, and we need to enable the compute. It means compute engine. So we will enable it. Okay. So let me do our third step because with these 2 steps we have already done. We will directly go to our third step. So we will create like our website by creating this folder. So mkdir is for making a new directory with the name of my website. And then cd my website, we are changing the directory, like we are going inside that particular directory. And the nano command is for creating any file. So we will create this index.html and we will paste everything, this HTML code. It's a simple code for like making your HTML website. So let me do this in the Google console. So let me open the Google console. So my Google console is open. I will enable all of our resources. So first I will search compute engine, this one. So we can see it is already enabled. Now I will search for artifact registry, this one. This is also enabled. And the third one is Kubernetes. This is also enabled. Now I will click on this CLI, like Cloud Cell, which is CLI only. So I will click on this and this will open for me the terminal. So inside this terminal, we will like create our folders and we will create our HTML file. Okay. So one by one, I will show you each and every command. So you can see we are in this particular project, like we are using this email ID. So this email ID is shown here. So first of all, I will use ls for listing out the files inside the current directory. So we are here. So we can see my website is already created. This folder is already created. So first we need to delete it. So I will use rm.rf and then my hyphen website. So this command will remove the non-empty directory. Okay. So again, if I use ls, so you will see no folders are available. So now we will create our folder and we will create the files inside. So I will use mkdir and my folder name is my website. Okay. So this will create a folder. If I again check ls, you can see my website is created. I think the spelling is wrong. So again, I will use rm-rf, my web, the wrong spelling. Okay. And now you can see this is deleted. Again, I will create a new directory, mkdir, my hyphen website. Enter. Then I will use cd, change directory, my website, this one. So I will come inside this particular directory. Okay. Now I will create my HTML file. So I will use nano space index.html. This is the name of my file and I'm using the extension HTML. Okay. This HTML is for the website only and nano is our command. So if I press enter, it will move me to another GUI layer. Okay. Here we need to copy all of our HTML code. So I will go to my documentation. I will copy this code from this document. I will share this thing in the description box. You can copy from it. So here I will paste it, Control V, and I will use backspace to remove this extra spaces. And then I will press Control X. If I press Control X, it is asking me, do you want to save it or not? So I'm just pressing Y. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now it is saved. If you want to check, you need to use cat. Cat is for checking the file, index.html. So you can see your file is created. Okay. Now I will create one more file, which is our Docker file. So for that, I will use nano and I will give the name Docker file. This is the name. And in this particular file, I will put this command. So from nginx stable, this is our sample image, and we are copying this index.html to this particular location. Okay. So I'm just copying it. So for this Docker image, we are using nginx stable. We are using nginx web server, and we are copying this index.html to overwrite this already existing index.html in this particular location. So I'm just copying it and pasting it here. Okay. And again, I will press Control X and then enter. Yes, enter. Okay. Again, I will press cat docker e file. So this is the file which is now created. Okay, so we have created our website like HTML files. Now our task is to create the artifact registry. Okay, so inside the artifact registry, we will create our repository, and then we will deploy our repository after building and pushing it to the JKE cluster. Okay, so let me show you how we can do this. So here we can see we have to go to this artifact registry, and in this artifact registry we will create our repository. Okay, so the first way is I am minimizing it. We need to search here artifact registry, this one. So you need to click on do not show this message. Got it. So this is our artifact registry. Okay, here we can store, manage, and secure our artifact. So now the GUI mode is here. We can directly click on this create repository, and we can create our repository here. But sometime it is throwing incorrect responses. So I'm using CLI mode to create a repository. Okay. So what I have to do, again, I need to open this CLI, and we need to run this command. So let me use clear to clear this screen. Okay, and I will use this command gcloud artifact registry create. This is the name of our repo, website repo, and this is the format, which is Docker. And we need to give the location. So our location is US Central 1. I'm just copying this code and pasting it here. And in the end, in the reason, I will use US Central 1. That's it. So I'm just pressing enter. It will take few seconds to create your repository. So now your repository is created. Let me refresh it. So you will see our repository is now created. Okay. Now we need to authenticate it. So for authentication, we need to select that particular repository, and you can see there is an option setup instructions. So we just need to click here, and this is the command we need to use to authenticate. So I'm just copying this command gcloud auth configure docker, and we are giving this US Central 1 docker.pkg.temp. So I'm just pasting here in my CLI in the terminal. This is called terminal. Okay. So I'm just pressing enter. So it is saying like it is throwing this command is not found because we have copied wrong thing. Let me copy it again. Let me copy it again. And I'm just pasting it here. Now again enter. So now you can see this is authenticated. So we have created our repository and we have authenticated it. Now we need to build our basically we need to build our this image. Okay, so we will build this image, and then we will push it to the artifact registry. Okay, to build this image, I will use this command docker docker build -t. This is the command which we are using, and make sure you are in the same folder, my website. Okay, then I will copy this particular repository. So we need to click in this particular repository, and we need to copy the path. So here we have a copy path. So I'm just copying and I will paste it here. Okay. So everything will be the same, but inside this website repository, I will create one more folder, which is my hyphen website. Okay. So this is the same thing, only I have added my website. And then we need to give colon, we need to give our tag. So I'm using tag v1. You can use another thing also. And then space use dot. Dot means we are building this particular image into this current folder. Okay, so dot is very important. I'm just pressing enter. So it will take around 10 seconds. So now you can see this image is now built. Now we need to push this image to the artifact registry. So for that, we will use this particular command. Okay, docker push. So what I will do, again, I will write this command docker push, and I will paste the same thing. Okay, I will paste the same thing which I have copied from this artifact registry from the repository. Then I will use hyphen my website. Okay, and then colon v1. This is very important. So let me, this name is not correct. My website colon v1. So I have just used docker push and then enter. So now we are pushing our image to the artifact registry. Okay, so you will see this is now completed. Now again, if I come to this artifact registry here, and if I refresh this particular repository, we will see our container image is now posted here in the repository. If you click on this particular my website, you will see the version of your container image. This is the v1. This is the container image which I have just posted it into the repository. Now our custom image is created. We have like build the Docker image and we have posted it into our repository. Now I will deploy this particular container image to our autopilot cluster. So we have already created this autopilot cluster. I'm just opening it. So now I have just opened it. I will click on this deploy. In the Kubernetes, I'm using this thing. And this time I'm giving the name of deployment is demo manual. Okay. So you can give any other thing. I'm giving the name is demo manual. And this thing will be the same. Cluster will be the same autopilot cluster I'm using. And in the container detail here, we need to click on this select and we need to select our own the container which we have deployed now. So I just need to select this particular container v1, select, and then we need to click on next expose. Similarly, I will give here 80 as our target port and service type as a load balancer. Similarly, I will, as we did in the previous demo, I will just select this 80 and then click on this deploy. So it will take around 1 or 2 minutes to get deployed. So now you can see our container is deployed, but it is still running. So I will click on this view detail and I will click on this investigate. So automatically it will investigate and like correct it. Now we can see this investigation is completed. I will click on this refresh button. Now you can see it is showing green tick mark. Now if I scroll down, here we can see our pod is running and this is our expose endpoint. If I click on this link, it will open my website. So this is the website which we have created in the index.html file. So this is the website which we have created by using our own code. So I hope this video is helpful for you and you understand how to deploy your container image into JKE cluster. Thank you all of you.